This conference
Okay,
will now be recorded.
so we are recording, and I'm going to make Carolyn the presenter, and we will get started. All right, you should be good to go.
Okay, fantastic. There we go. I've got let's see. Oh. Okay, it keeps, Elizabeth, it keeps swapping to Ute
Yeah.
as presenter.
Okay, I still had some technical problems, so can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, Uta, and you don't need to do anything. I'll just mute your microphone from there. You're all set to go.
Okay, and my screen is shared. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. Great.
Okay, you're good to go. Yep, we can see it.
Perfect. So last week, I think everybody who's here today at least checked in last week. So we're not going to do a huge rundown of what we did last week, but we talked about developing your own selling platform. And now that you have chosen a platform, theoretically, either your own website, Etsy, Amazon Handmade, wherever you have evaluated that's going to be the best fit for you, now we need to market it and get people to come to your online platform. So, build it and they will come. And unfortunately, it's just not actually as easy as the Field of Dreams would have us believe. There are lots of people out there and they want to buy what you're making. You have a platform, and what we need to do is funnel the people from out there in the world down into viewing and then purchasing off of your platform. And our funnel here is a mix of different colors, just like our marketing funnel for online sales is going to be a mix. It's going to be a salad or a mosaic of things you're going to try. And some of the pieces are going to be more effective than others. Some of the least effective pieces you're still going to have to do because they will be key in making some of the larger pieces more effective. And a lot of times you're not going to know if it's one specific thing that's working or if it's the entire formula of everything you have going that works. So it's a little bit of a spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks. And that's not an officially sanctioned expert opinion. That's just my experience in trying to do this myself as a small, one person marketing operation here with a handmade product and a handmade high value product at that, because the things that we make are worth something because they are artisan handmade. We are all experts in our own media and our pricing ought to reflect that. And it's a different marketing strategy than, mass production where you just need to sell a lot for a little. We're trying to sell individual pieces of art. So we're going to have to really throw that into the mix of our marketing mix here to get people to our platforms. So where are the people? Where are we trying to funnel them from? We are trying to funnel them from social media. We are going to try and funnel them from Google or their search engine of choice. And we are going to try and funnel them even further on the buying platforms. So someone goes to Etsy and just puts something in the search bar. We want our Etsy store to come up in those search results. So those are places where people are already surfing around and they're looking for content, and content in our case means product. So let's get social, obviously from a distance. what are some of the social media platforms that we're going to try and draw people from? There are a lot. There is Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, Tumblr, Pinterest, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, and a lot more. How many of you have even heard of all of these? Right? So I am legitimately too old to TikTok or Snapchat. That you won't find me on those platforms. And I think based on the fact that we are all artists, we have handmade product, we're looking at individual products, not things that are duplicated super easily, and we need them to be represented in a visual way. I think that most of us are going to end up on the big ones: Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and perhaps Twitter. I have chosen Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest as my three that I'm willing to work on for my businesses. In all of these platforms or in all of these social media aspects, the work you do there has paid and unpaid options. Today, I'm going to mostly focus on unpaid because I think it helps us understand the algorithms and it understands the connections. And also, most of us probably don't want to pay more than we have to. So let's focus on the unpaid aspects of it first. The social media work that you do will work for any selling platform. You are going to drive people to your own personal website. You will drive them to your Etsy store. You will drive them to Amazon. Wherever your checkout link is, wherever people can actually give you money, you can use your social media to funnel people to those places. Facebook and Instagram are owned by the same company. They are all owned by Facebook. So they work as a unit, and often what you post in one place can automatically be posted in another place. So if you evaluate one of them and find them a good fit for your business, I'd recommend doing both, because you can duplicate that work without actually duplicating your work, time, and effort. Pinterest is its own beast. It is not owned by any of the others. Twitter is its own beast. And so we have to, again, like we evaluated our platforms, we have to evaluate our audience and to find out which ones are going to be the best fit for us. I like these because they are visual. I like Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest because they are visual in nature. They're photo driven, whereas I don't, well, you can put photos and videos on Twitter, but I don't think the layout lends itself quite as well to the visual aspect of having a piece of artwork available. And I like particularly Instagram and Pinterest for the handmade and unique aspects of what we do as artists. I think the platforms, those two are built on really work for that. So that's kind of where I ended up with my evaluation of what was going to work for my business. I like the interface on these. I feel fairly comfortable with all of them at this point. If you're already using Twitter, you feel super comfortable with it, don't leave by any means, but maybe expand into something that is a little bit more visual in nature. So I have a question for you. What's the best workout? Exercise routine. What is the very best exercise routine in the whole world? Oh, I went backwards. I'll go forwards again. Think about it. What's the very best workout out there besides Richard Simmons? It's the one you're willing to do again. That's the best workout. So your social media, your marketing efforts, what is the industry best practice for these? Well, it's what you're willing to do. It is what it's a methodology and a schedule that you're willing to participate in. So it doesn't have to be what all the articles say in order to get engagement. So Instagram, Facebook is 1 to 3 posts a day. Twitter is something like 10 posts a day that they say is best practice for those platforms to gain as much reach as possible. But if you can't maintain that, don't. And don't feel bad about it. Anything you put out there on these platforms is all to the good. So we're going to try and create a marketing plan using these social medias that we can commit to. We want to create content that is consistent. So if you can commit to posting once a week, do it. If you can commit to once a day, do it. 3 times a week, whatever you think your schedule allows, set that as your goal and do it well rather than over-committing and doing it poorly. You want to create a mix of content. We don't want to just make a selling post every single morning. That's not varied enough for our audiences. Modern audiences, especially on our social medias, want a mix of content, including an entertainment segment. We can't just say, here's my stuff and it's great. They want to know who you are. They want to know why your piece is special. They want to be entertained by their time on social media. We kind of laughingly refer to it as selling the sizzle with the steak. It is, so here's a snapshot of a 9 block of my Hunt Country Instagram. And my top left is a behind the scenes video. So that is me in our actual workshop. It's technically a blooper reel, so it's funny. It's unguarded. It's a glimpse into what we're doing. It's promoting a product of ours that we created videos for. The next one over is a still shot of a kids product that we have that we're really promoting during stay home orders. So, you know, something for parents. We have a couple other photos there that are comedy, you know, just a little bit of comedic relief. We have the ring in the chair is reading a book about the Cartiers. And this is a real book that I'm reading about the Cartier family. So I made a little one and I put a ring in, like she was enjoying her isolation reading and all this time she had to catch up on the Cartier book. And wouldn't you know it, the author, one of the Cartier family, found it and liked it and reposted it in her stories. And it like made my whole day. So you get those kind of cool things that happen when you're willing to step outside the box and do something a little bit funny. Some live selling of product. When I was out at a show here, this is what I found. If anybody wants one, let me know. And then the bottom row, you have what is more of my standard product posts. And they will all have their own captions, but it's a mix. So there's some video, there's some still, there's some behind the scenes, there's some of my face, there's some of my product, there's some with a sense of humor. So you want to mix that up. And you want to do it in your voice. It needs to be authentic to you. They don't want something generic. They want to buy from you, the artist, because they love your product, but also because they feel like they know you and they consider you a friend. It's not the way we generally think about our own products, but it is the way marketing is working out there today. There's a great deal of brand loyalty to be had if you can make a personal connection with your buyer. So we want consistent posting. We want a mix of content, and we need it to be in our own authentic voices. And that just takes practice. You're just gonna have to practice a little bit till you find the style that you're comfortable writing and posting in. One of the big questions that we had in the last session was how to find the balance between doing all of this and not stopping the creative process, not stopping in our making. So we touched on it a little bit in that you have to just set aside a block of time to focus on the marketing aspect. And I think for me personally, where that starts really is a decision to treat my business as a business. That all of it is important, that I'm not just a maker, I'm a business owner. And so the business is also something that I have to create, and it deserves attention and it deserves time. I find it most helpful for me to set aside a block and try and knock out a certain amount of time's worth of content in one go, rather than trying to on the fly do that, one post at a time every day. So as a business, if you're going to be really serious about your business and making it a real, go of it online, then your business is going to incur cost. You guys all know you have material cost, you have studio cost, you're going to have some marketing cost. You're either going to pay for that cost in your own blood, sweat, and tears to, the effort to do those posts every single day, or you're going to pay for it in a monetary sense with a scheduler. So what's up on your screen is a screenshot of my scheduler. I use Tailwind. It's not the only one out there. There are free versions and there are paid versions. Tailwind, Hootsuite, Buffer are some of the big ones. I like Tailwind because it has an integration for all three of my major socials. And you can see on the screen, I can't get my pointer to show here, but you can see on the screen that it allows me to upload a photo into my drafts. And where you see that blue ring underneath, it gives me a space to write a caption, add a location. I can save hashtag lists and choose from them. So I have a whole docket of hashtag lists, one for Hunt Country Gemstone Rings, and it populates it with all my hashtags that I've chosen just as soon as I choose it. There are suggestions for hashtags, and then it also lets me click the two boxes at the bottom that I can amplify on Pinterest, and I can share it to my Facebook page. So with one post, it allows me to go to Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. Since those are the three social medias that I've chosen for my business, Tailwind was the right choice for my scheduler. Over on the right side of the screen, you can see a blank scheduler. I've chosen a very ambitious 3 times a day for posting. I do not hit that anywhere near as often as I should, but that's my goal. And they're all different colors because I've added through the scheduler here a content plan so that I know it gives me the color and I immediately write a post that's promoting. Now I write a product post. Now I can write an education post, and it helps me get that mix of content without really thinking, too much on my own. I get to fill in some of the blanks because of the content plan that I've already put together here in Tailwind. Now, Tailwind is an official partner for all 3 of these, so it will automatically post for me. Some of the free versions will let you schedule and they'll send you a reminder, but you have to go in and manually post those posts yourself. And there is no auto post for you. So the auto post feature was one that was worth paying for me. So I do pay for Tailwind. So that's a big part of finding balance for me between being a working mom with young toddlers, trying to run the actual brick and mortar when we're actually allowed to be open, and to try and do marketing, is to set aside a single day that is dedicated to this. They're dedicated to my scheduler. And I spend a couple hours curating, creating, gathering all the posts for the next week. I get them all pre-scheduled and get them all uploaded, and in they go. And I have all three then that just need to be monitored for interaction throughout the week, rather than coming up with that content on the fly. So that's how that works best for me. And if you're going to get really serious about it, I suggest finding a scheduler that you like. Tailwind will let you do 30 posts for free, I think, to try it out. And I know the others have free versions as well. So I want to take a little bit of a case study of Etsy. I have a feeling, based on the fact that all of us here are artists, we have one-of-a-kind handmade products. Etsy is going to be a choice that most of you look at fairly closely, and you should. So let's take a look at using Etsy as a platform, and then what some of the internal and external marketing is for Etsy, and what some of the fees and costs are that are involved in that. Top left, we have a chart. This is not my chart. I found it, but it is a generic breakdown of what some of the Etsy fees look like. You have a listing fee. It's 20 cents. If you relist a product because it's sold or because it runs out after 4 months, it's another listing fee. That's another 20 cents. They do transaction fees at 5% of the cost of the goods sold, a processing fee at 3%, and a processing fee at 25 cents per transaction. So your total Etsy fees run somewhere between 10 and 12% per transaction. I don't think that's awful, considering that a lot of places that consign go anywhere from 30 to 50%. So 10 to 12 seems fairly reasonable to me. They're going to do a fair amount of marketing on my behalf. I can increase that marketing. So below that chart, down on the left, is Etsy's internal advertising screen in your shop manager. I have an active campaign set up where I have $1 a day, and I choose 7 to 10 listings a month that I promote with that $1 a day. They will spend it for you. So I spend about $30 a month, rotate through the listings that I'm promoting. I did this morning. So as of like 9 o'clock this morning, I had almost 150 ad views, but nobody had clicked through or made any purchases yet today. So you can see how that's broken down on that screen. You can set that for whatever you'd like, cost-wise, and it's optional. You don't have to put any additional money in. They come up first in search results, and people do see them more. So that's an option. Top right corner. This is a brand new program from Etsy called Offsite Ads. It's literally brand new. They announced it like end of January, February, and it literally went live April 13th, this month. It is for marketing outside of Etsy. This is a controversial program right now. So it is marketing for you that you don't have to pay for up front. Etsy is going to grab listings that answer keywords and queries on all those other platforms. So you can see Facebook and Google and Instagram and all of those. Etsy's going to advertise on all of those platforms for you. And they're going to use your actual listings, your photos. People can click right through and come directly to your link. So if your listing matches, all the other ad data that they're gathering from that user, they're going to put your product up in front of them. It is an automatic thing. You do not have to sign up. In fact, if you want to not participate, you have to actively opt out. It's expensive. It's an additional 15% on top of your 10 to 12% normal Etsy fees. You only pay that when the purchase happens through the ad. If you make over $10,000 a year in sales on Etsy, you are not allowed to opt out. It's mandatory. The fees cap out at $100 per transaction. And I think I figured the actual math out on that, and the breakpoint's like $1,000 or $1,500, that it's cheaper when it's above that than it is to just do the 15% when it's below that number. Not all of your sales will come from this program, so they won't all incur fees. I mention this because it's a valid marketing avenue. You can create your pricing structure to include up to 25% that will go to Etsy for sales. But also because this is a brand new thing that Etsy just rolled out. And if you're a super successful seller on Etsy and you don't have the option to opt out of this program, what happens if you don't have your own website? What if you don't want to participate in this? What if you don't agree with the new terms that they have put down for you? Well, it's their platform. It's your shop, it's your product, but it's their platform. So there is no negotiating with them on this. And if you don't like it, you can bail. If it's too expensive for you, you can leave. Etsy won't miss you. So where are you going to go? You're going to go to your own platform. You're going to go to your own website because you don't incur these kinds of random changes to your store at someone else's discretion. So that's why I think it's important to have that home-based website that belongs to you and no one else, even if you're selling on other platforms. Because one day you may run across a policy or a policy change that you simply cannot get behind. And then you will have all of that work already done on your own homepage, and you won't have to start from scratch all over again. I personally have not decided what I'm going to do in regards to this new program yet. First thing I'm going to do is opt out because I'm still allowed to opt out for this year. So that's going to be the first thing I do while I figure it out. I don't know if I'm just going to increase my pricing across the board or if I'm going to divide and conquer. Like if I'll put everything over $1,500 on Etsy and everything under $1,500 on eBay. I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. I might turn it on at some point and see if I make any sales from it. Maybe it's not going to be a problem for me, but it's a matter of just kind of seeing how that goes. And then the last screen grab here is some of the integrations that are already available on Etsy. You can see that Pinterest is already available there and a couple others that I don't know a whole lot about, but there's a direct email client, there's some social media schedulers. I think that's what Outfy and Crowdfire are. So there is some things that Etsy already integrates with that you can work with as far as your marketing goes. And then if you scroll down on that actual screen in your shop, then there are other ones, things called Marmalade or Tailwind that claim to rate your listings, and they'll tell you how your keywords are you hitting metrics. Some people find them very helpful, some don't. I think there are paid and free versions. I don't use one for my Etsy, I just do it myself. But those are out there too, and they integrate directly with Etsy. So you can find, where those integrations are on the individual platforms. So this is a little bit of a case study for one of the platforms that I think will be of interest to all of us as artists. You know, think about your fees, think about what level of marketing you want to do. Do you want to let Etsy market for you outside? Do you want to only do interior Etsy marketing? Do you not want to pay Etsy to do any of that? You want to do it all yourself through your free social medias? And you can choose all of that. As of right now, you can choose all of that with Etsy until you've crossed the $10,000 mark, and then Etsy says, no, we'll market for you no matter what. And I don't know how I feel about that policy. We'll see. We'll see how that policy goes. So in all of this, there are some other things we need to talk about. Now, we've done a lot on our social media posts. We're going to mix our content up. We're going to write in our own voices, all of that good stuff. But what about actual advertising? What do we need to work on in our product listings, on our websites, to drive people to our website? It was one of the questions we had right before it started. Maggie says, hey, I set up my GoDaddy site, but I'm not making any sales there and I'm not getting any traffic there. So working on that is your SEO, and that stands for search engine optimization. This is a whole huge field. We are going to touch really lightly on the surface of this. And then, you know, if we want to look at future webinars, or you need future research topics, this is one that you could research for years and dig into and have conversations with a million people and hear a million different things. This is a big component, and it's a really murky one. So we're going to try and clarify a couple of points about SEO right now. SEO is literally all about being found. Whatever search engine is being used. So Google has its own algorithm, Facebook has its own algorithm, Etsy has its own algorithm, and this is the formula for getting your products or your website up in the search results. Keywords, you have to decide what the keywords are going to be for any given product, any given post. So if it's the home page of your website, what do you want to be found for? Handmade what? Pottery, commissioned artwork, custom jewelry. What is a short 2 to 3 word phrase that describes what you do, that when someone puts it in the search bar, you want your website to pop up? So depending, for Hunt Country, I have jewelry Percival, jewelry Loudoun County, custom jewelry, gemstone jewelry, diamond engagement rings. I have a list of things that I would like to show up in the search results for when someone puts them in the box. Then I need to use those words. I need to use them over and over and over again in the content of my web page. A minimum of 3 times per page, per listing, probably as many as 5 to 6 times before Google thinks you're just keyword painting. But this is how Google works. This is how all the algorithms work, right? They have little, in my head, they look like these little spider bots, and they troll all our websites and they troll all our listings and they pull out text. So it's called being indexed, and those little bots collect the words that they see most often on any given page. They index it, and now they know how to show that page in search results. So if your home page, if you're a potter, and your homepage says absolutely nothing about pottery, it's never going to show up in a search for handmade, custom pottery, because you haven't used those words. Other places you need to use those words. Photo titles. Okay, you're going to name all your photos. You know, photos come out with DSC107.jpg. Okay, no one searches for DSC 107. in a Google image search. They're going to search for green tourmaline ring. So my photo has to be named green tourmaline ring because Google doesn't index photos. It shows that there is an image there and it reads the text of the image name. So some of my best online sales have been from image searches directly off the Hunt Country website because someone put in literally green tourmaline ring and my image popped up because that was the name of the photo. They clicked on it, they got right to the listing on my website and they bought it. So you have to think about those keywords or naming all of your images in something that's going to show up in a Google search. Touch really quickly on blogs. If you're going to have your own website, I think you should probably have a blog because it's a place to put a lot of keywords, a lot of images of your work, and a lot of keywords to match them. You don't actually need people to read your blog, although that's nice. We want Google to read your blog. Every time you put up a new blog post, Google ranks that page, it indexes that page, and it says this website is current, it's being worked on a regular basis, it has images, it has keywords, and I know how to show this in search results. So you can use your blog, 300 to 500 words is all you need and a single image. And you can revise on themes, you can have things, once a week, once a month, anything tells Google that you're working on that website on a consistent basis. So it's a good place to expand your keywords and use them a lot and get lots of images of your work out. It is also a place you can host videos. If you have in-process videos, behind-the-scenes videos, and you post them on YouTube, Google owns YouTube. So they really love it when you embed YouTube videos in your blog post or on your homepage because it's promoting another service that they own. So they will rank that high. Tags. Yes, we have a commentator. She's very interested in tags and hashtags. It's a specialty of hers. The tags are more for things like your product listings on Etsy. It's going to ask you to tag for things that people can search for. So if I'm putting up a piece of jewelry, I want my item to show up. So I am putting the materials, gold, silver, amethyst, diamond, and I'm putting style, vintage, estate, antique, floral, handmade, one of a kind, so that when someone types in handmade diamond engagement ring, then all those tags there in any combination are what is going to bring my listing into those search results. And if I have paid to promote a listing that matches all of those search terms, then it shows up at the very top in the first line of the search results. So we want to be specific and thorough when we add titles, tags, keywords, because that is how people are going to find our products on the selling platforms and on our own websites. The same goes for hashtags in your social media. The hashtags are literally just tags with the pound sign in front of them. And it started as a way to search so that you could search for a post that had this specific hashtag and all the results would come up. And it started as an internal thing. A couple of tech companies started doing this so that they could search through their conversations and find relevant posts. So now that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to let somebody who is following a hashtag, searching a hashtag, find a relevant post. Some of the best ones I have found for us as artists are to definitely include your location, because you're going to not just increase your online sales, but you're going to increase the attendance to your local workshops, your local sales, your festivals, all of those things. So I always tag everything here with Percival, Loudoun County, Love Loudoun, which is the official Loudoun, Visit Loudoun hashtag, Loudoun County VA, Virginia Arts. I mean, you tag all of them. You get 30 tags per post. So just go ahead and use them. And something like Tailwind or one of the other schedulers, one of the other assisters will rate your hashtags too. So they'll rate them as niche. They don't have that many posts, not that many followers, to high competition, overblown. You know, they have a million posts, you'll never be found in that feed. So you want somewhere in the middle, and it will rank your hashtags for you as you build your hashtag lists, which I find really helpful. You know, and we want to include things like artisan, one of a kind, maker's gonna make. You know, you have to create a hashtag list based on something that's really specific to your product that people are gonna follow, they're gonna find. So that is just, I know it feels like a lot of things flying at you all at once, because it is. But the takeaway from SEO is we need words that describe your product to help you be found in searches. And those words need to go everywhere we can put them. So text, titles, paragraphs, tags, and hashtags. If no one else on the internet is writing about you, you write about you. Okay? Get your name, your location, and your keywords put in as many places as humanly possible. And the very most important thing to take away from all of this is that you're not going to get any magic bullet. There's no service that can do all of this for you. You need to just do it. Just do it. Jump in on the deep end. Pick a platform, make a listing. Read, watch a YouTube tutorial, ask your peers who are doing well on these platforms. Just do it. So my mom is a very smart lady. She holds a master's degree and runs an entire department in a hospital. And she still comes to me and says, I need you to make me a photo book because I don't know how. I don't consider photo books to be all that difficult to make. And so, you know, fine, I'll put it together for you, Mom, no problem. And she says, but how do you know how to do this? How do you know how to upload them? How do you know how to change that? Why does that make sense to you? And the answer is because I tried it. Because I was willing to open an account and click around until I got the hang of it and started to figure out what some of the symbols mean, what some of the limitations are, what some of the integrations are. I've just spent some time goofing off in some of these places until I found something that had an interface that made sense to me. Just jump in. Okay, perfect is the enemy of good. You don't need to post 3 times a day. You don't need to be on every single selling platform. You don't need to check into Etsy every morning. You need to do what you can maintain, what feels comfortable for you. All of it is to the good. All of it is pushing your product, your brand, your name to the forefront, and it is directing and funneling people to your actual selling platforms. Your Etsy listing, your website, your buyable Pinterest pin, we're funneling all the way through all of those platforms. So that is the down and dirty of marketing once you've chosen your online platform. So I am going to switch off my screen now, if I can. And go back to viewing everyone or listening to everyone. Okay. There we go. And I think we're right at about 40, 50 minutes here. So we've got some time for questions. That was a huge amount of information. So I'm really glad that this was recorded. And you can watch it again if you need to, but start shooting those questions at me. What was confusing? Because I'm sure some of it was confusing.
So go ahead and unmute your microphone if you have a question, or you can type it in chat.
Yep. I did not see the chat that whole time. I saw that there were comments, but I figured that Elizabeth would let me know if there was anything super important to address. Thank you, Maggie.
I have a question.
Yep.
I have been approached by, I think the person was from GoDaddy, and they wanted to know if I wanted to pay to have them appear in the search engine sooner or quicker. And now I know the terms.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a fee that's reasonable, or should I try to do it myself?
You know, I would try it yourself first.
Okay.
Just because I think that it's very easy to not understand if you're getting any value out of someone else's services if you don't understand what they're doing for you.
Right.
Full service, like, hey, you pay me, I do everything. I make all of your posts, I'll do all your content, we'll do all your SEO. That stuff's ridiculously expensive because it's a lot of work. So if you just
I
want to
don't think it's there yet. So I didn't think paying for something that I'm not quite ready to manage was a good idea.
So Google has a small business program. Hunt Country has taken advantage of it. It's not inexpensive. But they have an entire team that will work with your small business. They will work with you. You have to dedicate a minimum amount for Google display ads and banner ads for like a 3 to 6 month trial period. But you get a whole team that will index your site and tell you what you're doing right and tell you what you're doing wrong. And it is, I mean, it's like $3,500 a month or something. It's not cheap. And what we found when we did it was that the display ads, yes, the display ads didn't really actually do all that much for us, but banner ads did, and they're a lot cheaper. So we learned a lot through going through that process, and now we don't do any display ads, and we manage our own banner ads for something much more reasonable, like $25 or $50 a month, and it brings us great results. So there's something to be said for doing these programs, at least for a little while, to learn. But I think not until you know that it's a platform that you like and you have a bit of an understanding. I wouldn't throw that much money at it until you were really ready to dig in.
So which did better, the banner ads or the display ads?
The banner ads, you know, the ones across the top of your screen, that's what we do. We focus it on like a 50 or 75 mile radius. It's really to drive people to our local, to drive people to our local brick and mortar, but we have demonstrable results from them. They're good for us. But the display ads, the really pricey, like pay-per-click display ads, they didn't bring us anything. And that was with a team of Google working on it. So it was clear at the end of that, which was the right direction for us to go.
Okay, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, I'm looking through the chat. Anybody else? Questions about specific platforms or, I mean, I'm not an expert by any means on any of them, but if I have any experience with any of the platforms or anything, I'm happy to talk about it. Okay, awesome. You guys are good to go. Go forth. Sell lots. Build your empires.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Carolyn, and everybody go and just do it.
Just
Yeah.
do it.
That's all it
And if you
takes.
run into trouble, like I said, Google is your friend here. Google it. Someone else has this question and they have Googled it. Somebody else has answered it. There are user forums for Etsy. There are user forums for GoDaddy. There are user forums for YouTube. YouTube is a wealth of information on people literally giving you step-by-step instructions on just about anything you'd like to do. So if you are willing to jump in, click around, and do a little research, you will figure this out. You are intelligent human beings, and this is not that complicated if you're willing to try
Thank you.
it. Yeah.